Welcome to the Do Good Work podcast. Today, we're going to be diving on a quick one-on-one on not a one-on-one, like a one-on-one you and me, but today's topic is called Building Digital Teams 101, so like a class. So interesting play on words there. So going to dive into my experience, some suggestions, the structure of building digital teams remote and at scale online today. So after pretty much tripling teams remotely, I've been responsible for hundreds of people online. I've developed and stick to using this structure for building every team that I build. Now, this is the only structure that you can use to be successful, but this is a structure that is tried and true. It's a structure that I love. It's a structure that scales really well. And it's a structure that I teach and that I hope that can be of value for how you design your team and your business. It's called the task unit structure. And how it works is essentially three parts. And like every framework that I provide, it's extremely simple. So it's nothing too complicated, but it's essentially three parts. And I'll share with you the benefits and I'll share with you what you have to do to ensure that this works for you. Part number one is you have to have a lead for the team. You have to either assign or hire a lead. And let's say for each team, you're designing it based on function. So let's say there's a function of a client deliverable team. And the simple example is if you're offering creative services or if you're offering digital marketing services, there should be a lead that works directly with your clients besides you, because unless you are that lead. But the way that this structure works is there's always a lead. Either you hire them or you assign or you elevate someone's role. Now, the second part of this structure is that you'll have to have some sort of operations or project management support for that specific team. And notice that I mentioned specific team, not just a generalist who works for the entire company. And this is important because this is one of the keys to scale, the keys to have this team, this task unit be autonomous, which is the ultimate goal where they can make decisions and take action and roll without you ever being there. Now, this is not always the case when you want to actually provide the best value to your clients. You should be there. However, if you have that option, then you can, if you want to take a month vacation, why not? All right, so the first thing, have a lead. Second, have some operations or project management support for that specific team. And then the third part of this team structure is to cultivate 3 to 5 people who execute the specific team's function. Now, do you need 3? No, you can start with 2. You can start with 1. But depending on how you want to scale, this is what scales up and down. If you have, let's go back to the digital marketing example. If you have a lead marketing strategist, be the lead of the team, then you have a marketing project manager, that is the operations support. Then you might have 3 specific people who deliver the marketing services to the clients or clients, plural. And what you can do is if you want to add more volume to that team, either workload or clients, because it could just be an internal team for your company, because this works for both. If you're client facing, you're working with several clients, or this is an internal team, this works for both because I've built it in both. So that's why it's so simple that it works, that you can scale the team who executes to the capacity of which the leader can handle. And typically, if you're doing client facing, you could scale this to up to 5 different people executing, working up with upwards of 5 to 8 different accounts. So one lead can manage, on average, I would say anywhere between, depending on their skill set and the level of intensity of each project, anywhere from 15 to the max of 30 projects, depending on, again, skill set and the demands of each project. Same thing for internal teams. Now, internal teams, you may not need to scale at this level, but it is realistic to assume that we can handle 15 specific actions or 3 big actions with 15 subtasks per team, per task unit. Now, the reason why we structure it this way with a lead, operations support, and 3 to 5 people in one team is for several reasons. So here are the benefits that come. These are 3 benefits that are extremely important, and these were built personally out of necessity. So number 1, you create redundancy. Because if someone leaves from that team, or if a lead needs to take a vacation, or if one of the people who are executing the team's functions need to, go on leave or take a vacation or leave, you're covered because you can swap things out interchangeably within the team, and this creates redundancy. Number two is that there's a very streamlined hierarchy of communication from leadership and inter-team. This follows the productive profits hierarchy of communication. You have both horizontal and vertical communications with this, and this allows your team to be always on top of their game and very effective. And if they wanted to be autonomous, they can do things on their own. And that's the third benefit. Having this kind of structure can allow your team to develop and grow on its own without you always being there and being the rate limiting factor or the bottleneck. Now, you can't get off the hook that easily, right? You can't just build this structure, peace out, have them do their job. No, because as a digital leader, you have to do these three things to ensure the health and vitality and the growth of the team. You can't just create it and build it. That recipe, create it, build it, and leave, is a recipe for implosion. So what are the three things you have to do to ensure the health, longevity, and the growth of your task unit team? Is number one, you have to ensure you have the right team players. You have the right people on the bench. You have the right people executing. This goes back to how you hire. This goes back to your culture. This goes back to the dynamics of the team. This goes back to who's a right fit, who's a wrong fit. This goes back to the most overlooked thing in business, your purpose statement. This goes back to your values. How do you live them out? How do you actually follow them? You have to make sure you got the right people on the team, because someone who is not the right fit on the team will be a leech to the rest of the team members, and it's a sinking ship. Don't do that. Second thing you have to ensure as a digital leader is that your team has the right resources and the right tools to succeed. Got to make sure they have the right trainings, the right tools, the right pieces of software, the right protocols, the right procedures. Like, you have to make sure you don't have to build this by yourself, work with the team to build this, but you got to make sure that they have the right level of access, the right resources to win and to be able to excel. And number three, as a leader, you have to work with them for each individual team member in that task unit to help them grow in their role, for their specific function, and in their career. Take an interest in your team, support them, help them grow. This is extremely important. It is basic, but it's extremely important, because of these three things that you have to do as a leader. Numbers 1 and 2, ensuring you have the right team members and they have the right resources to win. Those are essential for short-term success. But if you want to have long-term success, you have to focus on number 3, helping each develop in their role and in their career, even accepting the fact that what's best for their career may be to not be part of that team and ascend to another higher level team. And that's okay, because that's what we do as leaders to help each other grow and develop new leaders. That is actually my measurement, if a leader is good or not. Do they develop new leaders? So there you go. That's my one-on-one with a Building Teams 101. If you have any suggestions or questions from the podcast, go ahead and email me at podcast@dogoodwork.io. That's dogoodwork, podcast@dogoodwork.io. As always, it is an honor to be a small part of your journey. This is Raul Hernandez. Do good work.